Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the never-ending Evo project featuring yours truly. Anyways, if you're new here, I recently did my headliner in suede, and I'm very, very happy with the results. Came out really, really good. If you're interested in doing this, I made a 30-minute video walking you through everything you need to do in order to have this done. Went ahead and also blacked out the pillars. Those came out really, really good. Only thing we're missing are the visors, and those should be finished up and installed today. Anyways, I went ahead and also cleaned out the carpet, and it's not perfect, but it's good enough for me. Smells a lot better in here, and overall it's not too bad. So we're getting ready to move on to the next steps. Anyways, as far as today's video, we're finally gonna get to installing my dream seats, which are these gorgeous Recaro Sportsters that I've had for a couple months. I've been waiting on some things, and I think we're finally ready. I got them next to the stock Evo 9 seats, just to do a quick comparison. They're somewhat similar yet very different. You can obviously tell they're both quality seats, but the Sportsters are a lot sleeker, slimmer, and I can tell by just carrying them both that the Sportsters are way lighter. So I'll also be weighing those once we get the rails and everything on those. Let me know your opinions, which ones you like better. The stock ones, keep in mind these are obviously old, so if you could have a new set of these, would you rather have the OEM ones or the Sportsters? Anyways, in order to make these work, you're gonna need rails and sliders. So I went ahead and purchased these Brid seat rails, and it comes with, it's a whole assembly basically, and these are specifically designed for the CT9A chassis. As you can see, it doesn't list Evo 9, but it's all the same. All the same. So as far as these rails, first and foremost, I got the seats and the rails from Evasive Motorsports. They were roughly around, for the whole entire set, 2 seats, 2 rails, it was like $3,700 altogether. The seats came in at about a month, and these took almost like 90 days, if I'm not mistaken, to get those. Now, the reason why these take a while is because these are specifically made for the Evo, and they, as you can tell, welded specific hinges to the seat rail. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, these rails have been kicking my ass this week. I wanted to just test fit one of them just because I had a suspicion that it wasn't gonna be a direct fit. The guys at Evasive Motorsports basically told me that it should be a pretty seamless transition, and they should fit just fine. In theory, they do. However, you're going to need to modify them a little bit. As far as modifications, as you can tell, this is for the seatbelt receptacle, and that obviously had to be welded on. And because of that, there's none on the other side. And then not to mention, the seats rest right here. That's obviously higher than everything else, so it causes the seat to kind of teeter-totter. So because of that, we had to make some spacers, courtesy of your man Jared over here. That's the homie. Drives a gorgeous Camaro, old school Camaro 1969, but he went ahead and made me these. I got this material. This is just 3/16 raw metal, and I got this from Home Depot, and he went ahead and cut them up and made some holes. I went ahead and spray painted them just because it's raw and I don't want it to rust. So in theory, this will give us the clearance that we need. I went ahead and did it this way. You can do the traditional, just a regular spacer. I'll actually go ahead and find one. Like I was saying, you could go ahead and do the traditional spacer like this aluminum one here. But the problem with that, in from my assessment, is basically the weight of you plus the seat is gonna rest on this. And I think through time, it would end up damaging the metal on here, if not on the back or the bottom of the seats. So this is why I chose to do something a little bit longer to kind of distribute the weight a little bit more evenly. And this wouldn't be, if you use this, I don't think it would be an automatic like damage to anything. I think over time, I'm talking like 5 years from now, you'll eventually do some sort of damage to either the rail or the seats. But anyways, got 4 of these. These are gonna rest basically like so. Gonna have one here, one there, one there, one there. And then in theory, that should work. I will go ahead and walk you through the best way to do this. I'm just hoping overall it works out, because we had issues with once we put the rails on, they basically wouldn't slide back and forth easily. So we'll see what we can do today to make them fit. You could go with another option. A lot of guys actually recommended, I don't have any experience with this, so I'm just telling you what they said, but they recommended a brand called Planted, and you can get stuff from there if you wanted to. The only difference is you're gonna have to kind of piece your own kit together with the actual brackets and the sliders. So you're gonna have to get Recaro sliders and then the Planted rails. But anyways, that's enough talking. Let's get to it and figure out if this is gonna work. All right, I know this is gonna look crazy, but this is what I recommend. I recommend you find a nice place to be able to flip the seat upside down like we have here. And basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna slide the rail either forward or back as far as you can. You're gonna go ahead and place it on there. And as you can tell, this is why we need spacers, because of this receptacle holder. It causes this to not be even. So we put the spacers in there so it's nice and flush on both sides. Like I stated, you're gonna wanna slide either forward or back. You're gonna wanna go ahead and put the spacer in there, line up the holes, which I'll obviously have to do. And then once you get either the fronts or the rears together, what you're gonna want is a friend to help you push it forward. So you're gonna wanna slide it forward, so now you have access to the rear ones. All right, here's a visual of what I was talking about. So we went ahead and did the fronts first. As you can tell, there's a spacer, nice and painted so you can't tell it's there and it won't rust. So we did the fronts first, and now what we're gonna wanna do is I'm gonna press on this, he's gonna push forward, and then we're gonna do the rears. All right, and just like that, we are assembled. There are the spacers right over there. And everything looks good. The holes do line up. So I went ahead and used the back ones obviously for this one, and then the second to last ones for this. So that should work. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these in the garage and weigh them. All right guys, now to weigh myself. I am a hefty 178. All right, and now to weigh the old stock Evo 9, 215. I'll do the math on the screen. And now the Recaro Sportster. Oh, it's heavier. Wow.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
I cannot believe that the new ones weigh that much more than the stock ones. It makes sense because so the rails I think has to do the most with it. So we're talking metal rails on this side, and then not to mention this, whatever you want to call that piece, that's all metal. The stock one doesn't really have that, it's plastic. And then not to mention, if you were to flip this upside down, you'll notice that there's a lot less metal on the stock seat than the Recaro. But I didn't anticipate that much weight, but it has to be from all the metal parts. I can't think of any other reason why it would. I don't really care too much. It's just kind of surprising. But we are adding a little bit of weight, I guess. If it makes it any better, I did remove the oh shit handles. So I went ahead and deleted those. So I guess that's a little bit of weight savings. But yeah, we're adding weight to the car. All right, time to get these back seats cleaned up. These are in pretty good condition overall. No tears or anything, just dirty. I've actually had the fronts, I've had those cleaned once. I've never actually had these cleaned ever. So they should be pretty nasty. I've been debating for the longest getting one of these little extractors. This is what we're going to be using. Finally got one. I got this on Amazon Prime Days. It's been sitting for a while, and I'll be hitting it also with some of this. This is all together is like 140 bucks, so not too bad. All right, got the rears cleaned up as best as I think I can. Wait till you guys see this. This is absolutely disgusting. And check that out. That's just from the rears. And this is one of the reasons why I tried to, I basically opted to get new front seats. You guys got to remember, at the end of the day, this is foam, and just like a mattress, like eventually you want to go ahead and get, new ones. You can clean a mattress as much as you want, but after a while, it's just best to get a new one. And keep in mind, I'm not even cleaning under here, just because obviously I can't get to it. So I'm only cleaning these sections. Actually, probably about half of this. All right, 24 hours later, and this is where we sit. No pun intended. Overall, I'm happy with the results. They're not supposed to be perfect, like I stated before. Nobody sits back here, so as long as they look clean, I'm happy with it. But that little machine really did a good job overall, so I highly recommend you guys getting one of those for yourself. All right, guys, first seat is in, and as you can tell, everything looks good. Everything's fine, no issues at all. Overall, seems to suit the car pretty well. A little bit more narrow than the stock ones. If you are a bigger guy, I don't really recommend these seats. I got the homie Jared checking out the new seat, and I'm actually glad that the seatbelt actually lines up perfectly in that little dead spot. I noticed with some of the coupes, it would rest right on the bolster, right over here, just because of the way coupes are. But as you can tell, it sits nice and flush right there. Fits pretty good. They're a little bit more aggressive than I thought they would be, but overall not bad. All right, guys, time to do the driver's side. So for this one, the seatbelt is a little bit different because you have the sensor here that tells you if you put your seatbelt on. Now the issue is, in the stock seat, this is fished through the brackets and a bunch of other things, and I didn't feel like taking it apart. So what I actually ended up doing is just cutting it, and then I resoldered it. Pretty simple job. The two wires are the same, so basic little soldering job, and you'll be fine. All right, guys, this is what was required in order to get the driver's side bracket to fit. And the reason for that is because it was so snug on the seat that it would cause tension against the rails, and it wouldn't allow it to slide. But I just did a test fit after doing some work, and it slides like butter now, so we should be good with no issues. So what I did to basically get this done is a Dremel and these bits right over here. And I went through a bunch of them, so just be mindful. If you have probably a better tool that could sand kind of this material away, you probably get it done quicker. But this is how I did it. I know these brackets don't seem appealing now, that you do have to modify them a little bit. But honestly, it wasn't too bad. I just wish I would have known that this was the issue. It would have saved me a lot of time. And overall, it's not bad. I get it. With these brackets, it seems like it's probably not a good idea. But honestly, it all comes in one piece with no issues at all. You don't have to really assemble anything other than perhaps maybe doing a little bit of modification depending on what type of seats you have. If you do end up going with bridge seats, this is a straight fit with no issues at all. Another good thing about these is that the holes do line up. These holes right over here, they do line up. So other than this modification and a little spacer, honestly, that's it. That's all it requires. So I'm gonna hit this with some paint and get it on the seat. All right, guys, the moment we've all been waiting for. The seats are finally in. Let me know what you think. Here they are. Back seats are also in. Let me know what you guys think. So I was a little concerned at first with these seats. Obviously, it's gonna take some time to get used to them. I did sit in them. It sits a little bit weird. I'll actually hop in the car. And so first and foremost, I'm actually pretty surprised at how the seating positioning is, just because these tend to slant like upwards like that. So your butt area is kind of down, but then your legs are kind of high up. And it's a weird kind of sitting position. However, the way I was describing it to my friend over here is that it feels like right. Like it feels like it's almost like when, I'll just give you an example. Like, let's say you're slouching at your desk job, and they made a chair that made you sit upright. This is what that feels like, to where the car is basically like, I haven't driven it yet, but this feels like the right position for this car, to where you're just sitting where you need to be, and there's no deviating from basically that position, if that makes sense. I do plan on doing a full review video where I drive and show you guys how I feel about the seats. I obviously haven't driven the car yet, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty happy with them. Let me hop out the car real quick. These bolsters are a little bit beefy. I am considering, what do you guys think? Should I get rid of this Brid decal? I think I'm going to. As far as the brackets, I know these don't seem like the most appealing just because of the little bit of work that we had to do to get them fitting. But honestly, if I was in your shoes and I had seen this video specifically, I would feel pretty confident in these brackets just because I would know exactly what to do with the spacers. And honestly, the spacers aren't even a requirement if you did have Brid seats. So I want to make sure that I give these brackets kind of a fair assessment just because I'm kind of mix and matching with Brid and Recaro. So just keep that in mind. If you were to order Brid seats, these brackets would be essentially just a one-to-one fit and you wouldn't have any issues at all. But because, you know, we're mix and matching, that required a little bit of basically some R&D on our end. So yeah, I honestly, now that they're in, I don't mind the brackets. I do sit a little bit higher than I anticipated, but honestly, it feels like the right sitting position. So that's going to cover it for this one. I do plan on taking the car out once the whole interior is done, and I'm going to give you guys shots of all that stuff, so don't think that this is it. As far as the steering wheel, I guess we'll slap the old boring steering wheel again.
Psych!
You guys know we couldn't do that, so we actually ended up doing something a little bit different with the steering wheel, and I'm actually pretty excited about it. I've never seen an Evo with it, and honestly, might be more excited about the steering wheel than the actual seats themselves. So you're not going to want to miss the next video, but that's going to be for this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.